So what would success look like for England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa and Australia in these autumn internationals that are nearly upon us? I want to give you my view, but I'd love to know what you think. What are these aims of these nations, the kind of minimum that would constitute success? Let's start with England. They face New Zealand, Australia, South Africa and Japan, a super tough fixture list. Yes, we know they came close against New Zealand in New Zealand, but at the end of the day, they didn't win any of those games. In their last game of the Six Nations, they were very close to France, but they didn't win. So they're in danger of getting this tag of decent team, but not really winners. They're not going to actually win a championship of Six Nations or even a World Cup, anything like that. They're just going to be close and decent and at the top of the sort of table, but not really contenders for anything big. So I would say they have to win at least one of the big fixtures against New Zealand or South Africa to actually claim they are progressing and getting better. Of course, both would be amazing, but I think maybe that's a bit too greedy. But one, I think, would probably be enough. They simply have to beat Australia, otherwise they'll be seen as going backwards, especially if they lose both of those games against New Zealand and South Africa. And England have never lost to Japan, and they've beaten them really well in their previous meetings. Yes, we've got the Eddie Jones factor again, which spices things up, and they may well be rotating quite a lot of their players because of those big games before it, but still a must win. So in short, I think they need to beat Japan, they need to beat Australia, one of the other big ones. So 3 out of 4 I would see as success for England. But what would you say? Now on to Ireland. They face New Zealand, then Argentina, Fiji and finally Australia. I think this one's simple. Ireland got to a thrilling 1-1 result in South Africa in the summer. They're Six Nations champions, they're world number 1, if you read much into the world rankings. But in their own backyard, they need to beat New Zealand. They need to beat Argentina, and Argentina had some big performances in the Rugby Championship. So it's tough when you're near the top, but if Ireland want to assert themselves as one of these mega nations, one of those top-ranking nations in the world, I think it's 4 out of 4. Anything else, I think, would just pop them down the pecking order. They're still going to be good. They've got pretty much the same team, but those are the standards they aspire to. So I think success is simply 4 out of 4 wins, starting with that massive one against New Zealand. Now on to Wales. They've got Fiji, Australia, then a massive one against South Africa. They've had a tough year by Gatland's own admission. I think their squad is actually probably slightly stronger than it has been, although I don't think it is one of the best that I've seen. I did a bit of a summary of the Wales squad, the sort of team that maybe they could field. It's okay. Is it going to be good enough? I don't know. But what's in favour of this squad is they have been together for a year now. They should be better coordinated. Yes, they're outside the world top 10 and that really hurts. 0 wins in the Six Nations, that really hurts. Massive loss to South Africa, 2 losses to Australia, and the 1 point win against the domestic side, the Reds, doesn't count. So they simply need to win at least one of these internationals to end the year with something. Fiji first up, it's a big chance, but Fiji have been playing great. They won the Pacific Nations Cup, they dominated Japan, 47-17 in the final of that. So that's massive. That's almost like a final for Wales. They've got to get a win. Australia aren't the force they used to be, but of course they've lost twice. But in Wales's own backyard, they'll expect to win that one. Losing to South Africa, sure, wouldn't be a surprise. That's kind of a shot to nothing, I think. So I think success really is 1 win. I think it is that. Yes, 2 would be great, Fiji and Australia, but any wins at this stage would be great. So I think 1 out of 3 would be success. Then let's have a look at Scotland. I like the spread of their games. They got Fiji, then South Africa, then Portugal in the middle and Australia. I think they're definitely going to experiment in that Portugal game. No disrespect to them, but I think they're going to rotate between South Africa and Australia. Portugal play a fantastic brand of running, expansive rugby, as do Scotland. So it's going to be a great game, even though Scotland are probably going to rotate. They should win anyway. In the summer, they did a developmental tour to the Americas, widely hailed as a success, but of course they haven't been against the big teams. The game is against Fiji, Australia. They're going to be crackers because they like to throw the ball around as well. But the home fans will expect them to win both of these, I think. Fiji and Australia, I think they need to win them both for it to be a success. And what's really good about this fixture list is it builds perfectly for the crescendo against South Africa. Scotland have a settled team, lots of experienced players at their peak, and it's a great chance for a statement result. That being said, of course, it's South Africa, the Rugby Championship champions, the double World Cup winners, of course, so if they lose narrowly to the Boks, I wouldn't say that's terrible. So I think Scotland are going to be going for 3 wins, and a close loss to South Africa would be acceptable as success. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Now, New Zealand open their tour with 2 very tough fixtures, England, France, and then Italy, and Italy are no mugs for sure, so it's a tough one for New Zealand. If they're going to reassert themselves, well, fans will demand 3 out of 3, and I think that's what they're going to need. It's a massive tour for Scott Robertson. He could well return with, say, 2 losses and only a win against Italy, say, and I think that would be a failure. Even 2 wins might not be quite enough. So because Scott Robertson's in this kind of precarious position where he's trying to assert himself, I think they need 3 out of 3 to be successful. Now, South Africa are playing Scotland, England and Wales. They're not playing their big rivals in the Northern Hemisphere, Ireland. So dispatching these other nations is their task, and it is very achievable. They've been very successful with, obviously, the Rugby World Cup, then the Rugby Championship, and I think fans will give them a bit of latitude if they do drop one of these games because they've been so successful so recently. So I actually think a 2 out of 3 would be fine, but Bok fans will be expecting and hoping for 3 out of 3. But if they do get 2 out of 3, I think it'll still be okay because it's going to be a fantastic 2024 in total. Now, Australia have England, Wales and Scotland, and Joe Smith's Australia got his era kind of on track, off and running with those wins against Wales. So another win against Wales, I think, would confirm they are better than Wales. Of course, it's away from home, but they'll definitely want to do that. But I think success would be at least beating either England or Scotland as well, who are a step up from Wales. I think that's fair to say based on recent results. So I think 2 out of 3 would definitely be a success for Australia. 3 out of 3 would be fantastic. If they get 0 out of 3, then Joe Smith, I think, has got big questions to ask, but 2 out of 3 is the aim for them, for me. So let me know. Those are my subjective views of what would be success for all of these nations. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Always love to read what you say. I read them all. Fantastic stuff, guys. If you like this sort of thing, please do subscribe. Please do like. That would be awesome. And I'll catch you next time.